pinpoint you, Chappelle, in terms of.
Of course, I don't have the five that you got, but I got some.
Okay. All right. Well, when we
I
take
mean,
no,
because
what
didn't
you,
you say like a good organizer would be under your soft skills,
yes.
and then communication skills
Okay.
I have pretty well, and then under the hard, I have put like some basic computer skills,
Okay.
and I think you said cashiering, right?
Yeah, that we're gonna say.
Well, with the generic name, as you said.
Well, it's a hard skill. So
Yeah,
transaction processing.
yeah. I mean, I can't. I don't. That's about all I got for you. Because
When you
as
say
growing up, basically, that's what I did was like cashiers, right, working at McDonald's
uh-huh.
or working like at Myers, like stocking on the floor in the back, and like volunteering in my kids daycare.
All right, she is regaining entry. When you say
Okay,
computer skills, what
just know how to operate, do the basic stuff on the computer, like.
so give me an example. We want to be detailed. That's how we get away from the idea of being very generic. Because if we were to
Okay.
say on a resume, we are I have computer skills, someone may say, well, what does that mean? Do you know how
Yeah.
to hook up modems and routers for internet connectivity, or are you
Oh,
good with
okay.
data entry? So they don't. You're leaving them to try and guess. In which case,
Okay.
if they're looking for something specific, they're not going to guess. They're simply just going to look for the person who has been able to clearly define the skill that they have. So if you're thinking of a computer skill you have, tell me where you think that might be.
Um, basically, you know how to like browse through the internet when needed, like Google stuff, things, and still learning how to work through the computer on certain things.
Okay.
Like nothing extravagant.
Okay.
It's
Uh,
just simple, basic needs that I need to get through, like with school work. Looking for jobs, filling out applications. The basic necessities like that.
okay. Janelle, did you want to chime in with some softer hard skills that you feel like you might have?
Sure. I don't know how well I'll do on this, but as far as soft skills, I have good communication skills. I'm very adaptable in stressful situations. I have leadership skills, and I'm very organized. That's what I got for that. For hard skills, um, I don't know. I mean, I have a really good typing ability. I'm versed in Microsoft Word and Linux and um, Windows processing and Excel. Can you hear me? I hear like a
I
lot of, I
can.
don't know if there's like a lot
If
of,
there's one of you who has noise in your background, you may be better off muting your microphone.
because I'm getting a lot of static. I don't know if anybody else is, but I am.
I am too. I'm not sure which of you that it currently is, but I'm not sure that I can necessarily. I want to give you all the ability to participate interactively. I don't want this to just be me speaking one way to you, presentation style, which would allow me to just mute everyone's microphone, but I don't want to do that. I think this is better if we're able to be interactive. So, okay. Um, our third guest was not able to see the first part of the presentation, so I will not put her on the spot. Um, but yeah, this is a breakdown of basically how we go about listing our soft and hard skills. Some of them may be transferable, like your ability to be organized, communicate, adaptable in stressful environments. Those are all very good transferable soft skills, as well as leadership. Um, Data entry is very good. It's pretty transferable. transaction processing for sure. Microsoft Office Suite, it's a very good hard skill, may not be useful in some environments. If you're simply not doing anything on the computer or not ever going to be required to, it's a very good skill to have, but it may not be one that floats across every industry. However, I think you all have done a pretty good job of grasping the difference between both soft and hard skills, and then remembering, if we remember back from our slide, a transferable skill is one that can be applied across several industries. But your skill set is your skill set. We just want to be able to identify our transferable skills for the purpose of making sure that when we're looking at jobs that are a little bit different than any we ever had, we understand which of our skills we do have that we can list on paper and highlight and say, hey, I think they would like to know about this. All right, so now that we have a decent feel of both soft and hard skills, we want to look at this idea of core competencies. Core competencies are more technical. I'm going to use a generic definition. They're a very technical way of describing something that you do well from a skill set standpoint, but with the focus being on your technical and hard skills. So it's kind of like a merging, as you can see from the graphic, of both the soft and hard skills, and then you come out with what are known as core competencies. An example of a core competency would be inventory management. If you don't know what inventory management is, I'll give you an example that's pretty easy to understand. If you've ever been to a store like Walmart at night and you see the people who are there reloading the shelves, kind of keeping the inventory count, unboxing things, they might think of themselves as, I'm just a stocker. But the truth is they're engaging in inventory management because they have to keep a certain amount of inventory on the shelves according to what the company wants. They have to know how much is available, what's not available, so it can be ordered. They have those little handheld devices that you might see them holding, which enable them to input that information or to look up what is available. If you were to randomly walk up to them and ask them, "Hey, do you have this item?" Sometimes you'll see them pull one out and say, "Hey, let me take a look." All that is inventory management, but the person themselves may not recognize what they're engaging in is inventory management. So if it was time to list that skill set or that core competency on paper, they would want to label that as inventory management as opposed to just saying generic terms for what they do. So what you have when you have core competencies is the combination of both soft and hard skills. A good example of creating of merging the two together would be if you were to say um, look at customer service as a soft skill and then combine it with that of blueprint reading. And blueprints are like an example of a blueprint would be if you bought a chair off of Amazon and you had to put it together, or even a small desk and it came together in parts, and you need to look at the blueprints to kind of give you an idea of, hey, part A goes with part B and part C. But if you were combining customer service with your ability to read blueprints, you could say a good core competency would be technical support, because being good with people enables you to talk to people. So you could take a phone call or a chat line inquiry from a customer and speak to them quite well in a manner that makes them feel like they're being serviced well. The person's very friendly, very nice, understands the question being asked, and is willing to assist them. And then with your ability to read blueprints, you could help them with a technical question they may have. So for example, they may have purchased a product from the company that you are representing. So you combine your two skills to provide customer service and blueprint reading, and your core competency would be the ability to provide technical support, which on a resume you would list as technical support. And that's how you essentially would combine soft and hard skills together to come up with core competencies. Another way to combine would be combining, say, communication and word processing. your ability to talk to people and understand the type of person you're communicating with, the language to use, etc., and your ability to type out documents within Word or any other word processor might give you the ability to have the core competencies such as technical writing. So when you combine your ability to communicate and your ability to word process, you'd have the core competency of technical writing. And that's what you would list down on a resume if you were wanting to highlight both abilities. So your ability to communicate, your ability to word process would be listed in the core competency as technical writing. And it sort of plays better so that you don't have this huge blockade of soft and hard skills just listed where the person on the other side kind of has to figure out, hey, what do I do with that? This person has a very huge list of skills, which for one would take up a ton of space on the resume, and I'm not exactly sure how that applies to the job I want to hire them for. So, but if you have it listed in a core competency, um, then they're easily able to see, oh, okay, they must have this skill, and they can do this, and this is exactly what I'm looking for, if that makes sense to you all. And if it doesn't, please, you can ask questions now. We don't have to hold our questions because there's not too many of us. Does that make sense for everyone?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Here's a list of some core competencies. Um, this is not for just one specific industry. It's kind of across the board for the various concentrations that we have within Swift. So core competency might be tractor trailer experience, lab maintenance and preparation for people who are trying to be a part of like sterile processing and phlebotomy, technical support for those who are in the Google IT lane, home and palliative care for those who are more in the CNA realm. We may have account and payer disputes, data reporting for those who are looking to uh, be in office management or office assistant or administrative environments. You may have to do some data reporting, which you might see, which might be done via Excel or another sort of similar program that they may have you all using. You got record maintenance and inventory control. And this is just some core competencies a person may have. It's very rare that anyone would have all of these because these are some from a very wide range of different industries. But you you probably have several, and because you've never thought about it before, don't realize you actually have those. And then you'll also have more as you complete your concentrations within Swift. So what I'd like for you all to do now is to think about this idea of combining soft skills and hard skills to create core competencies, and see if you all can come up with 2 to 3 apiece, um, so you can kind of see if you're getting the hang of this idea of core competencies. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to do that, but first I want you to if you want to take a look at this website. Um, Breaks down the idea of core competencies and the core competency section on a resume. Um, Here in this area here, if you can take a look, this is kind of how you might list it. So this person has corporate account management, their ability to use digital media, um, they're a persuasive communicator. They have a list here, and this list keeps them from having to essentially create a very large hard and soft skills list because it kind of encompasses it both, and it's very specific to the job that they're probably trying to obtain, so that the person on the other end immediately knows how this matches up to the job description and the role they want for that person to play if they bring them into their company. So we really want to get used to this idea of creating core competencies from soft and hard skills. So it's a good idea to practice. I will list this link in the chat while you all are engaging in that activity. And we're going to take about 5 minutes to do that. So let's just say 5 o'clock, we will resume.
I have a question for you, Shamir.
Uh, uh-huh.
Okay, now with your soft, can you go back to like you had your list of your soft and your core and your
Yeah.
Okay, so what we put down right here, basically, you want us to match with the hard skill as your core competencies.
Well, you're kind of combining a soft and a hard skill.
Hmm.
It may not be an exact merging, but you want to think about the idea of how does my soft skill combine with my hard skills to create a core competency. And you want to think about it within the scope of the type of industry you want to work in. So for you, um, you want to work in an office environment doing administrative work, you want to think about the type of things a person who wants you to do that job might have you doing. So if they have you creating reports or entering in data or things of that nature, you want to think about how your soft and hard skills work together to create core competencies that you can list on a resume. And don't feel bad if you're not able to immediately come up with the best worded core competencies. It certainly takes practice. It took me practice. I'm not sure that I'm even a master at this point, but the only way to kind of get good at it is to kind of just keep doing it until you feel comfortable, and then eventually you get them pretty down to a point where you don't have to really alter them that much. You just kind of decide which ones you want to include on a resume and which not, depending on which job you're applying for.
Okay.